Not everybody should marry a pastor. Not everybody can handle marrying a pastor. That's just the plain truth. So if you're trying to decide, should I marry a pastor, should I not marry a pastor? Is this something I want? Is this not something I want? Stay to the end of this video and you would probably get a good answer. Hi people, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Chisom, Pisum, Pastor Pisum, whatever sails your boat, and this is another episode of Diaries of a Pastor's Wife. I am ever so grateful to you guys for how much you've engaged with these videos, with this series. It blows my mind. By the time I'm watching this, we're most likely more than 2K subscribers on YouTube, and I can't believe it. I remember one night when I was living in Dubai and I was so sad because I had worked so hard on a video. I had spent like 6 hours shooting a 15-minute video. I am not exaggerating, I promise you. I was trying to balance out the lights. It was just a lot. And then I posted a video and I think I had less than 100 views. It was just frustrating, right? I really gave my all to the video and I just felt like I was working so hard and not seeing enough results. But there was something the Lord told me back then. He said that if he asked me to do something and I saw no material reward for it, would I still do it? And I said, yes. It was a hard yes, but I'm like, yes, Lord, I want to please you. And yeah, there's so many things I've learned on this YouTube journey and I'm still really, really learning. So many things I'm really learning. And I'm just thankful for the progress. Like the day I was crying that day in my room, and right now we are like almost 10 times bigger as a channel. And I am so grateful to God, grateful for what He's doing on the journey ahead, and grateful for you watching this video or listening to this on podcasts. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for sticking through with me on this journey. All right, so on today's video, I will be telling you 3 reasons why you should not marry a pastor. And yeah, you may be like, oh my gosh, this is supposed to be an advocate for pastors and pastors' wives. Like, why are you talking about 3 reasons why you should not marry a pastor? Unpopular opinion, or in fact, popular opinion, not everybody should marry a pastor. Not everybody can handle marrying a pastor. That's just the plain truth. So if you're trying to decide, should I marry a pastor, should I not marry a pastor? Is this something I want? Is this not something I want? Stay to the end of this video and you would probably get a good answer. Number 1 reason why you should not marry a pastor is if you don't want that person to be a pastor. And I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but if you don't want, you're not excited that this person is a pastor, I'm not sure you should marry that person, right? And I'll tell you why. There are radical things that the Lord can ask you to do when God places a call on your life. This is true for every believer, but especially in ministry. If you cannot stomach God placing demands on the person you want to get married to, you probably should not marry that person, because that means in a sense or form, you are saying that you only want the Lord to be Lord over this person to a certain degree. And that doesn't work. So if you can't stomach the idea of this person being a pastor, you are not happy that God has, given this person this honor and privilege to serve Him this way, you probably have no business marrying a pastor, right? And I've heard pastors jokingly say, we don't marry you, because see, this pastoring work is very dynamic, very misunderstood, very difficult on some days, but there are so many things that the right partner can alter, can just make hard seasons more bearable. So if you will not be that partner that would make things bearable for your spouse in difficult seasons, if you cannot, go ahead and support your partner when God says something like leave Dubai and go to Lagos and plant a church, maybe you should not marry the pastors, because you don't want to frustrate the call of God on that person's life. Then when we are now standing before God to give account on our life, they will now ask you, why did you hinder your husband? And you say, I just didn't want to be a pastor's wife. So please just don't marry the pastor. If you can't stomach it, and it doesn't make you a bad person necessarily, but if you can't stomach it, it's better that you know what you can handle and you don't frustrate the call of God on another person's life. Okay, so that's number 1 reason you should not marry a pastor. Number 2 reason you should not marry a pastor is if you don't know this pastor beyond ministry. I've said this before on this channel, and it's something I heard from a mentor of mine. Don't pick your partner like you're trying to start a church. The dynamics of my husband and I in church are very different from the dynamics of my husband and I in the house. Same people, very different roles, very different dynamics. So if you only pick a partner because he looks the part, he dresses nice, he's a cool, nicely dressed pastor, he can cast out demons, he teaches well, he's eloquent, and you know nothing about the person's character beyond being a pastor, you're setting up yourself for failure. Because there have been stories of pastors beating up their wives. There have been stories of pastors that are corrupt. There have been stories of pastors that do the unthinkable. So before you marry somebody that has the title of a pastor or MOG, make sure you've known and you've vetted that person's character. It's very important. Make sure you've known and you've vetted that person's character, especially off stage. Are they the same person on stage and off stage? Are they the same person to their friends? Are their friends surprised to even know that they are pastors? And you only know these things by being that person's friend. You only know these things by getting to know the people that know this person, and also by discernment, right? So don't marry somebody simply because he tells you that he's a pastor. Another reason you should not marry a pastor is because he said that God said, or she said that God said. That's not enough reason to marry somebody. It may be an encouraging factor, but it is not enough reason to marry somebody. Be sure that the person that you are telling that God said I should marry you is also hearing that God agreed to that. And if you believe that, this is you have prayed to God, God says you can go ahead with the person, don't go and start blackmailing people that, God said you should marry me, and I want you to make sure you follow God and you don't miss road in this life. Oga, auntie, please. Don't. If we've gone past the era of trying to play that game with people, please don't do that. The excuse of God said is not enough to jump into a relationship with somebody. Do your assignments. Do your assignments. Ask all the questions. Because there are some people that are in church that you'll be so marveled how they think about things, There are some people in church, when you hear their mindsets towards certain things, you'll be amazed. Let me give you a touchy example. Imagine, wanting to date somebody that believes that if you give birth through CS, you are not being a Hebrew woman. You're not being a Hebrew woman, and if you are truly spiritual, you must give birth like the Hebrew woman. First and foremost, that story of the Hebrew woman, I don't think many people actually sit down to read the full story, because let me give you the context of the story. The Pharaoh, or the king of Egypt at the time, was upset about how big the Israelites were growing. This story is recorded in the beginning chapters of the book of Exodus, and he was upset about how the children of Israel were prospering and growing. And then he gave a decree that all the Hebrew boys born to the Israelites should be killed once they are giving birth to. And he gave this decree to the midwives to execute. But the midwives feared God and they couldn't do this, so they lied to the Pharaoh and said, these Hebrew women are strong. They are not like Egyptian women. Before they call for us, they have given birth and there is no need for us, which was not true. They said that to protect the Hebrew women. And then the Bible records that God blessed this midwives, right? Because it protected the Hebrew boys from being murdered. The king went on and then made other decrees, and then that's when they still went on killing the Hebrew boys that were born. This was what led to the story of Moses being put in a basket, and that's the whole concept of Hebrew women. It's not that they needed no help to give birth, or that people going through CS, you did not really give birth, or you're not really a real woman. I was born through CS. My brother was born through CS, and it's not written on our faces, right? We've had amazingly beautiful lives. We've not had second-hand lives because we're born through CS. There is nothing wrong with being born through CS. If you want to believe God for vaginal delivery or through, by all means, believe God for that. Prepare your body for that. But don't look down on people that choose to go through CS for their health's sake. So now, you want to marry somebody and he's a pastor, but he believes that if you give birth through CS, you are a second-class citizen, or you're not following the will of God, or something weird like that. And you want to marry that kind of person. You're trusting that person with your life when it comes to childbirth. Because God forbid, what happens when there's a complication? Maybe the baby is too heavy for your birth canal. Like, what happens? This is a man you're trusting your life with. right? Let's even go to, lesser things. You want to marry somebody that just has a very skewed personality, right? Maybe you're a pastor and you want to marry a woman that says it openly that, I can't marry a pastor. First of all, what are you doing dating somebody like that, right? Is she a bad person? No. Is she good for you? Not really. I don't think so. Because this is someone you are looking to spend the rest of your life with. You're not trying to marry them until a season of your life. And your call is going to get only more dynamic as you go. And by the grace of God, you will only continue to ascend heights and heights in God. So why will you be with somebody that is not proud of being married to a pastor? Being married to a pastor and being a pastor myself is downright one of the most honorable things I get to do in my life. That's just the truth. Is it hard? Yes. Do I thank God for it? Yes. Would I trade it for anything? Absolutely not. So don't marry a pastor simply because they say they're a pastor, or you don't know their personality. You've not really done your research to know that this person is a good husband to be, or this person can be a good father to your children. Have those conversations. And I pray that the Lord will give you wisdom, He'll give you understanding and discernment. May your eye clear